Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Grove Radio 107.9 and respective radio stations island-wide. I am Charity Dunker, and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, March 31st, 2021. At this time, I'd like to invite the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, Egbert Durant, to address you. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning, Charity. Thank you. Good morning, colleague ministers, members of the media, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to visit the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation in Belvedere. The foundation was able to show me 2 upgraded duplex homes, as well as other duplex homes earmarked for renovation. The SMHDF introduced me to some of the tenants, many of whom spoke keen and were happy to express themselves to me and share their experiences since Hurricane Irma in 2017. The visit is a result of a renewed cooperation and communication between me and the Ministry of VROMI and the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation in interest in improving social housing on St. Martin. I was informed that more tenants in the duplex homes can look forward to their fixed roof, restored gutter system, tiling, window and door replacements. Upgrades are also planned for the kitchens and the bathrooms with the clean coats of paint as well. Regarding the terrible state of the apartment towers, Ms. Solomon informed me that the history of the delays and what caused various hiccups between the construction and the renovations that they've faced thus far. The tower apartments are expected to be completely renovated by the end of this year with assistance of the trust fund, of course. In the case of the duplex home, SMHDF itself had already made their own refinancing arrangements with the bank in order to provide the necessary capital for the work that needs to be carried out. I was told that I can expect to see much more progress and happy tenants when I make my next visit to see how far the renovations have gone, and hopefully this will be realized before the hurricane season that is upcoming June. I really look forward to this happening because we know what the residents of Belvedere have been going through for all these years, and Hurricane Irma also made it very worse. So I really look forward to that happening. In regards to updates from the Office of the Prime Minister, I want to update you on the Kingdom Consensus Law and also the Country Packages Arrangement. Today, in my capacity as Deputy Prime Minister, I'd like to render update on these points. Yesterday, on the 30th of March, Prime Minister Sylvia Jacobs was invited to an informal meeting between the State Secretary of Interior, Kingdom Relations, Mr. Knops, and President of Parliament, Rolando Bryson. This meeting, though casual, was positive and friendly in nature and has allowed for ongoing dialogue in order to arrive to a solution. Once parties have come to a renewed understanding, I will be able to update the general public on the ongoing discussions. There was also an article that was released today in relation to such. With respect to COVID-19 vaccine, all residents of St. Martin are urged and encouraged to visit the website of stmartingov.org/coronavirus to register for their COVID-19 vaccines. I would like to urge the general public to remain safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and also keep in mind that the virus has not gone as yet. Although we have a very successful vaccine rollout thus far, remain vigilant and do not become complacent. That will be all for now, and I look forward to any questions the members of the media might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister and also Minister of VROMI, Egbert Durant. At this time, I'd like to invite the Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, the Honorable Richard Panofleck, to address you. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning, Ms. Dunker. If you give me just 1 minute, I will sign off my PC instead of the mobile so that we can go ahead right away. Just my indulgence.
Also present, who will be joining us this morning for the Council of Ministers press briefing, but will not be posing any opening remarks. The Honorable Minister of Finance is also present this morning and will be available for question and answers when that time comes around for the members of the media. Once again, if you have just tuned in, this is the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, March 31st, 2021. I am Charity Dunker, and once again, we're waiting for the Honorable Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor to rejoin us during this live briefing for this morning. So once again, Honorable Minister Panuflak, are you present?
Yes. Good morning to the members of the media. Thank you for indulging with me. My esteemed callers of the council and the public listening via radio and social media. As of March 31st, 2001, 140 persons had a laboratory confirmed COVID-19 infection. To date, there have been 2,076 persons that have recovered from COVID-19 and 27 persons have passed away, unfortunately. There are currently 37 cases that are recently being monitored by CPS. Yesterday, I became part of the solution. I received my COVID vaccine. I urge everyone to be part of the solution too and register to be vaccinated. As a reminder, I'm encouraging the public to register for the vaccine throughout our online portal or by visiting the locations to pick up a paper registration form. I would like to pause here and make it publicly known that at the location, especially at Vineyard Building by CPS, if you have any problems filling in the forms or the registration, there will be people on site to help you for that. Paper forms are located at Collective Prevention Services at the Vineyard Office Park Building, the Division of Labor Affairs at the Simpson Bay Public Service Center in Simpson Bay, doctor's offices, the Government Administration Building, and select pharmacies. I would like to take this time and remind everyone of the necessary precautions to safeguard their health, that of their families and our community. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, stay at home and call your family doctor. Continue to wear a mask, practice 2 meter social distancing, sanitize and wash your hands frequently, and be cautious of large gatherings. On another note also, I would like to inform the general public that we have confirmed that by next week, we will be receiving our third and Thursday the fourth batch, so we will get them grouped up. The amount of people registering, as we can see out of the stats, is growing. And as long as the people are coming forward, registering and getting vaccinated, we will continue getting the necessary vaccines to be able to vaccine our residents of St. Martin Dutch side. So I would like to make use of this opportunity for everybody to really think good, check with your general practitioner, talk to whoever you want, but at the end, just make sure that you're part of the solution and register and get your vaccine. I would like to request the younger youngsters among us to talk to your elderly and bring them along, get them registered so that they can get the vaccine. As far as we know so far, we're getting Pfizer. We will continue getting Pfizer, but that is no assurance that in the future, because I hear a lot of people telling me, yes, not yet, I'm waiting, and all those kind of things. Yeah, you can continue waiting, but then you don't know what you will get by the time that you decide. So make sure to make use of this opportunity and get yourself vaccinated. And right now, anybody that say that they're reading all kind of things all over the wide web, you will see that Pfizer is still number uno, and that's what we're giving to the general public. Besides that, I saw there was a news article yesterday. I was called about it, about some policy that the predecessor minister has put in place. I'll have to say that policy is under the review because I'm very practical. If it was all put in working, more than a year ago, seeing that this cabinet last Sunday has made its milestone of 1 year in office. So why didn't it was put in place then? So there are things that have to be tweaked, but yes, sometimes when you are busy with other things and putting attention to other things, things will pass by or slip your attention and hit the media, and people like to see things to complain about, and they don't like to see positive things like go and get yourself vaccinated as being primary. So with that, I have touched that base. Also, I have to say before closing that seeing the events in Bonaire, Curacao, and Aruba, I have decided that the flights of the travelers coming from those islands will have to adhere to the protocol that will start as of this Saturday. Is if you do a PCR test in 72 hours, what right now is the norm, you will have to do at least an antigen test 24 hours prior to boarding. So if you do the PCR 72 hours before traveling, you need to have with it an antigen test no later than 24 hours prior to boarding. Or what we will encourage everybody to do is get a PCR test done 24 hours prior to boarding. We have made sure that the possibility exists from in Curacao, because that is the point-to-point between St. Martin and the ABC Islands, that the facility exists there, that you can do both of these tests within the time frame that is set so that you can travel. Another thing is everybody is welcome, but right now from Curacao, Aruba, and Bonaire, we would like to ask only for the travelers that essentially need to come to St. Martin to do so. In better times, you all can come and enjoy St. Martin, but for right now, if it is not essential for you to be here, so like for instance, if you just come for vacation, please postpone it and come at a later date when the situations both in the ABC Islands and by us is much better to deal with that situation. For now, the situation is how it is, regretfully, so that I would like to ask of everybody thinking or have to travel to St. Martin, only do so if it is nearly necessary for you to come here. It is not a cheap thing to do because you have to have those tests. We have even looked into the matter of the how much it costs. It's not something that if you come to St. Martin for vacation, it's something that will be cheap. But we are doing it for the benefit of our community and that the safety of our community, so that we all can stay safe and keep our figures as good as possible. And closing, again, I would like to say, people, please adhere to the protocol. Keep social distancing of 2 meters. Wash and sanitize your hands frequently, and put on your mask when you are in public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister of VSI, Richard Poniflock, for your opening remarks. Also, Minister, when we move on to the question and answer round, please turn on your camera for that time. I now invite the Minister of Finance, Artwell Arian, for brief remarks. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning to you, Charity. Good morning to you, media. Good morning to the viewing public. I have a few brief remarks. Yes. Government recognizes the paramount importance of solving the OZR financial situation with EZAV that has been neglected for the last few years. We brought a possible solution to EZAV and have been working on it for the last few weeks. The debt with OZR has been rising every single year, and we are hoping to be able to bring our solution in the next 2 to 3 weeks to the public once all parties are in agreement. So once again, we know the paramount importance of the OZR financial burden, and we have been working on it, and we hope to have an agreement hopefully signed in the next few weeks.
Thank you, Minister of Finance, Artwell. Arian. Members of the media, at this time, we'll switch over to the question and answer round. Do bear in mind that we are pressed for time. I'll invite Bibi Shah of SMN News. You have the floor. Good morning to you, Bibi.
Good morning, Charity. Thank you so much. Minister Doran, I'm going to ask you two questions. I'll answer whichever one you can. Minister, I'm getting a feedback. Yes. Minister, can you give us, Minister Doran, can you give us an update on the situation at GEBE regarding government's decision? You told me last week government had taken a decision, but because procedures are being followed, you were not able to divulge much information. Are you able to give us more information today? Because, Minister, the situation at GEBE is becoming unbearable. People are being victimized. My second question, Minister, I'm asking you this in case you can answer one or the next. I'm getting a feedback. Yes, can you tell us a little bit about the complaints that were filed at the Ombudsman regarding the garbage contracts? There's one filed by one or two contractors who were denied. Can you tell us, one of them told me personally that they sent you a list of questions for clarifications, especially on the day of the bidding, the open tender, that things that happened and that were not supposed to happen. I'm asking you to give us some clarifications on that. Thank you guys for the patience.
Good morning once again. Thank you, Bibi, for your question. Regarding your first question with GB and individuals being victimized, I must say I have no reports of such. And as shareholder, we have a role to play in terms of dealing with the supervisory board, and eventually the supervisory board deals with management. If this is the case with respect to persons being victimized, and it's always your right to send a letter to government and or the shareholder. So I would urge individuals to do that. But up to date, I have no information as to anyone being victimized. Just for the record, I have a meeting in Parliament at 11 o'clock with GEBE to give an update on the financial situation. So that is financing in financials on GB on a whole, and also their loans and different things that they want to deal with. Regarding your second question and the Ombudsman complaint, it is everyone's right to go to the Ombudsman. It's everyone's right to write questions and or complaints. But I would like to say one thing though for the record, and I stated it weeks ago, I stated it 3 weeks ago again when I gave clarity as to the fact that the contracts were awarded, which will start tomorrow, by the way. We are now finalizing the questions to send back to the Ombudsman and also the individual. In the meantime, before the complaint was launched by the Ombudsman, every single contractor, so there are different segments. There are those that won, there are those that qualified but did not win, and there are those that were disqualified. Every individual that was disqualified were given a letter with exact points as to the reason why they were disqualified in terms of whether it was documentation that was missing. Those that qualified but did not win got a clear-cut overview as to the points with respect to how much points one company got, and the reason that they didn't win, of course, is because of their points and or the pricing. So all those things were clarified to each and every contractor that participated in the bid. And to take it even a step further, BB, underneath there was a line from the letter that was sent out to all that indicated if you have any questions, if you need any clarity, if you want to review your documentations, you can always make an appointment with the Department of Infrastructure Management. That was a letter that went out by the head, and that is still the case. So therefore, I have my opinion in respect to the Ombudsman report. For me, that's a bit premature because here it states clearly you have an opportunity to review and ask any questions you want to ask. Nevertheless, it's everyone's right, and I respect that, to seek clarity in the best way if they feel in some way that they were cheated. Now, just to hit clarity based on the article that was sent, I sense a sort of entitlement to it with respect to, at the end of the day, it's an open tender. Everyone can participate. Someone is going to win and someone is going to lose. So that is the fact, and that's not going to change. So therefore, I hope I gave clarity for your question. And if you need any clarification, I'll be more than glad to share that with you. Thank you very much. And yeah.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Bibi. Moving on to the next member of the media, Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are present here today. And also special morning to the Honorable Prime Minister. I hope you're hearing us. And this question going to Minister Pantoffleck. Minister, you have proudly taken the vaccine, and your appearance looking different, Minister. What I want to, can you make some distinction, the PCR test and the antigen test? Can you make a distinguish it so that the people can understand what is the difference between two of them?
Basically, in the simplest way, the PCR test, first of all, good morning to you, Mr. Brown, and thank you for the question, so I can give some clarification. Basically, the thing that the most people will understand is that PCR takes longer to get results, and antigen tests, you will get it within 15 to 20 minutes. The technical part, I don't think this platform, it's necessary to give it, but both of them are being, the test material is being taken from within your nose. So what they call the swab, it will be swabbed, and the one will be through a whole laboratory procedure, and the other one will be by a simplified laboratory procedure. For you to know, the PCR takes more time because it has to be vetted through a whole complicated laboratory procedure, and the antigen test will be simplified. Now, out of the different rapid antigen tests, these things have been validated. Validated meaning the golden rule of PCR and the antigen test, they had made tests, sufficient tests to see what are the results. And it's only when the both results and both test systems give the same result, they will, the rapid antigen test will be approved, and such use, I'm sorry, my screen just went there, as being a test that is allowed. I hope that I have explained and that everybody understands now. So the one will take longer and the one will be shorter. The one go to a more complicated procedure and the one will go to a faster procedure. Maybe I can explain another thing like this. As technologies improve, we get more ways to do the same thing in a faster way. As you know, Mr. Brown, this world becomes something that everything has to go fast, fast, fast. Everybody's in a rush. So seeing that, the labs and the scientists are also working on methods to get everything faster. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister of VSA. If you'd like to restart your camera again. We'll move on now to Dr. Sock of Island 92. Jeffrey Sockran, you have the floor. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Charity. Thank you. Good morning to all of the ministers. Congratulations, Minister Pantoffleck. I'm sorry I missed you at Bel Air the other day. Well done. Well done. Minister Pantoffleck, if you might be able to give us some insight. We've heard an awful lot in the global media about the various variants, if you will, of COVID-19. We've seen a slight uptick in our number of active cases over the past week or so. Are any of these new cases as a result of any of the variants circulating on the island? Thank you, sir.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Sockran, for the question. As far as our statistical figures are showing, we had in the past encountered people that was tested here with the variant of the UK. But unfortunately, by the time you receive back the results, it was almost a month, and by that time that person have recovered already. What we know also, because we have a very good cooperation, the CPS and the ARS from the French side, and they are constantly in contact with each other and sharing information, sharing protocols, sharing how to do even the vaccination going forward, because even though we have two nationalities, two different states, where we are one island and the people live as such, there were some cases of the UK variant on our northern side of the island. We constantly are monitoring and seeing that. And as a matter of fact, I got advice from the professionals looking at it very professionally that we have to take drastic measures concerning how the things is to avoid getting these variants into our population. But one of the things is those variants, they don't come and flag themselves and say, oh, hello, I'm a variant, but they come and the economical distress that you will find with pure locking down. I talked to them, as a matter of fact, yesterday itself, and I tell them, listen, it's a pity that what's going on. But Holland been locked down for almost 4 months now, since December. Curacao was doing almost the same protocol, and it's still in their system. Naturally, their lockdown was, people could have still come in. So you can still import it. And it is always a risk managing this pandemic. And like I have said before, it's a risk management to see the health situation of our population and the economical benefits of the community and the island, seeing that the people can have jobs, go work, earn a living, and put a food on the table. So basically, you are busy with that constantly and monitoring. And that's why instead of closing the borders to the ABC Islands, we decided to make the protocol for the travelers from those islands more stringent, and telling them, if you don't need to be here, if it's necessary, only for necessary, that you will come. Don't forget, there are ties, like there are working relationships, there are organizations like lawyers and people that have next of kin, either that passed away or some kind of situation that they need to come here. The availability is there. Thank you, Mr. Sakra.
Thank you, Minister, for answering the questions. Now, moving on to round two, Vivisha, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Minister Ardwell, can you tell us what kind of controls and our checks and balances that are being done with the SSRP, the stimulus? Minister, I got some complaints, and it is so sad that we have modern-day slavery in St. Martin. Workers, especially working for some of the stores in Phillipsburg, they're being asked to sign a paper to say that the employers are trying to get stimulus, and they're not passing on the money to the employee. They're saying, oh, we tried, but we didn't get it. You know, there's an employee that worked 7 years for a company, 7 days a week, no vacation, never had a vacation pay, and since September, she can't get a dime from her employer. So I'd like to know if there's any checks and balances in place. In the same breath, I'm going to ask the Minister of Labor, Minister Panafleck, I'm fully aware that you're swamped with COVID-19, but your portfolio also have labor as well as social affairs. I mean, the young lady I spoke to yesterday, which it is so heartrending that she's threatened by her employer to say, if you go to the Labor Department, we have connections in government and we're going to have your residence permits destroyed. What is your ministry, your Department of Labor? How are you able to enforce the day controls, not only controls, but to make sure that the money that government is paying to employers is passed on to the employee? What is being done? How is the ministry government coordinating? How is the two ministries coordinating to make sure that this money is passed on to where it belongs so eventually it can get into the economy? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you for your question, Ms. Shaw. And first, I'd like to say condolences to you on the passing of your family member, which I recently got the word of. So again, condolences to you. In regards to the checks and balances, we have, for example, with SRP, the part is managed by SFV and the part is managed by SMDF, the cross checks, for instance. So a person does not get paid by the SMDF section, which is income and unemployment support, if they show up on the SFV payroll system. Another thing that SFV uses is the mutation forms from the businesses. So once you submit the mutation form saying that, hey, this is my payroll, that's what they work with. In addition to that, they work with the payroll since the law was established. So anybody came on after would not fall in line for the support. It had to be the person on payroll at that moment. Also, I would have to confirm on the last time we sent the businesses to the Labor Department, but in the past, we have sent a list of companies that got payroll support to the Labor Department so that when persons do come in and complain, they can be verified. So like the young lady that you mentioned, the most important thing for her to do, for us to be able to check, is for her to come to the Labor Department and make that complaint. We have in the past, I know at least of one case, I could say, of where an individual did come to the Labor Department. They did come to complain. They also showed that my company did get financial stimulus, and the company did end up paying that person out. So from our side, we're doing our part, and I believe it would be also up to the person to go to the Labor Department and make a complaint. So I'll let the Minister of Labor continue on that answer.
Yes, thank you, Minister Arian, and thank you, Mrs. Shaw. As the Minister of Finance already have indicated how the process is, and will go only to the specific of those employees that complained that they didn't receive. As the Minister indicated correctly, they have to come by the Labor Department and file a complaint. And it is even so that go further. I have told many employees that I have met on the street, go by Labor Department, file your complaint, and the Labor Department, in cases that are necessary, will also provide you the legal aid to help you in your cases. And in the as the experience have learned, there are quite some cases that went to court already, and the employers had to take actions and pay their employees. So this is something that's being dealt with constantly. The information that we get in, we are working with them. And yes, I'm the Minister of Public Health, but also of Labor, so I do not give them as much attention that I would like to, but I do time to time make sure that I'm informed about that situation also. One thing I have to say, if you allow me, people have to understand, you do not have to be afraid. Come forward for your rights. As a matter of fact, if you are being treated not according to the law, what do you have to lose to be afraid? I understand if you're working and they are giving you not the amount that they're supposed to pay you and things like that, you will think, and that is a pity also, unfortunately, that you will think from better something than nothing. But if they are not paying you, that's not correct either. So media, please don't go and write something that I didn't say. It's not correct. But I'm talking about people being afraid. It's not something only in St. Martin, but it's something that's going worldwide these days also, that the employees sometimes, because they're afraid of losing at least what they're getting, that they are not complaining. You have rights. But I'm talking specifically about your example, what you saying that these people are not getting paid. You ain't getting paid. So what are you afraid of? Come forward, do the complaint, and get the help so that we can put them to pay. I hope that I was clear about it. Thank you very much. Ms. Donker, I don't hear you.
I see that Charity has some technical issues. I'll take over for her spot in the meantime. We'll now move on to the next speaker, which I believe is Dr. Sack. Dr. Sack.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. And maybe our Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Rami as well, could comment on this, as well as Minister Panafleck. One of the things that we're seeing happen, we all want business to come back. We all want to be able to feed ourselves and earn a respectable and fruitful living. However, as you wander around and spend time in many of the establishments here on the island, there are those that are following the rules and adhering to the safety protocols, and there are those that simply are not. You see big gatherings inside locations. You see staff not wearing masks. You see owners not wearing masks at various locations because they just don't choose to follow the proper safety protocols. With cases rising, how are we going to get those to follow the protocols properly? Because it will only cause the cases to go up if we don't. Thank you, ministers.
Thank you, Dr. Sokrin. I have to say that I have experienced similar experiences, that going to a place and then that the staff is not wearing their face mask. Well, in my case, they ran and they put on the face mask and they did it. So now I just like you, I get complaints that people are not wearing the face mask. The face mask, right, is something for us to protect ourselves and the community. Not everything should be that if you don't do that, I'll lock you up. Maybe that's drastic, but anyhow, that's the system in. I urge all the owners, investors, management of all the public places where people go to make sure that themselves, their staff have masks on. If you have a restaurant and that's your core business and you want the people to come, have a drink, have something to eat, you cannot expect that the guest is the one wearing the mask. But you as establishment have to make sure that you and your staff have the mask on. People are complaining. I'm the Minister of Health, but people are complaining. Yes, business, 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 business. You want to do business, we take the risk, we calculate it, give you the opportunity for you to make your money so that you can pay your bills and your staff and all those kind of things, but you don't want to adhere to the protocol set. That's not good. So again, we will send people and control and talk to them and make them understand all those kind of things. But we are not babies. We have grown men doing business and grown women doing business. So we have to start acting like grown men and grown women and a community that's responsible. It's like this. If our figures go bad, the same industry that we so much want to cherish so that we can make our livelihood will close. And then you don't have it. And guess what? It's not because of me, because I've been telling you what to do, but it's because of yourself, because you're not adhering to the protocols. I'm not emotional. I'm just trying to bring across a point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It seems as if Charity still has some technical issues, so I will continue to proceed. And on that note, also, I'd like to, in addition to what the Minister of Health just said, and the reason why I'm also mentioning this is because of the fact that as Minister of Finance, we still get a lot of questions in regards to the health of the economy, the financial finances, and so forth. So in addition to what the Minister said, by us not adhering to the rules, even myself, who already got the first vaccine and awaiting my next vaccine in the next 2 weeks, I still wear my mask, still follow the rules, because I understand the importance of getting and keeping our economy open as much as possible so we can stay afloat and also be prepared for when the rest of the world comes on board and opens up, which we hope within the next few months to the year. So it is very important, again, to still adhere to the rules, follow the campaigns, because it's not only about you, but you're also doing it for the health of our own economy and keeping our own economy afloat. I'll now move on to Mr. Lyndon Brown for the next round of questions.
Thank you, Minister of Finance. Congratulations for just pitching in the right time, Minister. The question going to the Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister.
Sorry, Lyndon, can everyone else mute their mics, please?
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Question to the Deputy Prime Minister, as the Prime Minister is not here. There's a fear in the community, which is not the virus. People are not fearful about the virus anymore. But what people are fearful now about the immigration reform. Minister, I know you're deputy right now, but you heard about it. And you can brief. I know the Minister of Justice have all the answer, but also you can brief as a general right now. The people are fearful of deportation because what they're saying, their paper have been submitted for a year and 6 months and they're not getting no answer. So the people who want to breathe free, they want to breathe free on that matter. So say something to the people, please, Deputy Prime Minister.
I believe, sorry about that, Lyndon. There might be, yes, I see the time now. The Minister of Bromley, I believe, should be in Parliament in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So I believe maybe he already has exited and Charity did not have the opportunity to inform the media. But I know that he had to leave at 10:30 and I see that it's now already 10:37. So the minister will have to give you your answers in writing. So
all right, well, let me ask you the question, Minister of Finance.
You may proceed.
Yeah. Minister of Finance, what do you have to say? Now, there is problem with the liquidity fund that the Dutch halt has stopped the liquidity fund according to what been said so far. How that will affect the economy of St. Martin, and what's the alternative?
Thank you for your question, Linda Brown. As was mentioned, or as was mentioned earlier by the Deputy Prime Minister, the discussions between Prime Minister and Mr. Knops were amicable, and we hope to have a solution very soon. I do believe that a solution will be found in the short term. In the meantime, Yes, without liquidity going forward, the island will need liquidity going forward. And for now we can't survive, but obviously we have been requiring loans for the past few months, and we more than likely will require some liquidity going forward also. So I look forward to the discussions, hearing from the Prime Minister as soon as possible, or actually right after press briefing, for an update on how the discussions went.
Thank you very much, Lyndon, and thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Finance, for filling in for me during my technicalities. Moving right ahead to our third and final round of questions. Bibi Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. It's nice having you to tune back in. That's what the internet does to us now these days. I'm posing a general question, and the question I want the Minister of Finance to chime in and the Minister of Labor. We have two ministers, and I'd like to get both ministers' opinion. Minister Ardwell, we all have been reading, and we all know that there is a freeze on our stimulus, and we know what the impact will be. But what I want to ask you, because I have not heard anything substantial from ministers, the cabinet, the governing, the administration, as to their stance. The state secretary is demanding government to get a support from parliament, and as if government is the one running parliament and not vice versa, that the parliament is the boss of the cabinet or the government, the administration section. They're demanding stuff from parliament. Parliament has a role, but because government is not getting what the state secretary wants from parliament, he's punishing the government. What is your opinion on the strategy being taken by CONOPS?
Thank you, Michelle. I don't want to mention the strategy I believe he's taking, because I don't know his strategy. I know that as from our side, from the government side, we have been doing everything that we have agreed on so far. We have been looking at I said in English, the Uitvoerings agenda, the Uitvoerings plan from the government, which was also part of the conditions, which we have done. We have established the laws, so we have done everything on our end. So I believe that as per the agreement, we should have already gotten the liquidity support. And I believe that the matters should have been separated, because we are doing our part. And in addition to that, the laws, so the whole COHO law, for example, that has to still come to the different parliaments within the kingdom. So the parliament will get their turn in the future to deal with the laws. But at this very moment, as a government, the executive branch, we have been doing our part, and we have lived up to all of our agreements.
Yes, thank you, Minister of Finance, and also Bibi, thank you very much. Calling on Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Charity, I also asked the question to the Minister of Labor. If you can also chip in and give me your opinion on the petition filed with the UN. We need to know what is the opinion of the executive branch regarding this petition and the things that CONOPS is demanding from the executive branch. We're not hearing you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Ms. Shaw, for the question. You're asking me of my opinions. I have my personal opinion, and then I have government's opinion. First of all, let me explain something here. In the staatsrecht that is governing our body of government, how things are going. And in bestuursrecht, that's administration law, how it governs how government have to operate and basis on what. The executive branch of government, what we call government, but that's the executive part, not parliament, because the totality also is being considered government, have two different roles and are separate entities. As government, we cannot tell Parliament what to do. And one of those things that should be very understandable for everybody, the mere fact that whatever is being said on floor of Parliament, you have immunity about that. So they can, in Parliament, they can say and do what they please. They are parliamentarians. Together we form the body of governing the country, where together we make laws, and the Parliament will be controlling what the government, the administration part, is doing. And now I want to make something, give an example. If we are playing soccer and in the middle of the game, you, Mr. Shaw, decides to put, instead of 11 players from your team, 12, because you want to have the upper hand, you can try. But as the other party, I will not take it, because that's not the rule of the game. You have to adhere, just like me. We have 10 on the field and one goalie each other. So yes, you can try. It's up to us to make sure to flag it and say, listen, that is not the agreement. That's not how we do business. And as the agreement is, we did our part. You agreed to do your part. Do it. That's how it's supposed to be. I hope that you get in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Avesa, as well as Bibi. Thank you very much. Moving on to Lyndon Brown, BCN TV.
Yeah, question to the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance, there's some disappointment in the community about the 2020 plates. Some people are saying that some people did not pay. I don't know how they get that information. If you have that information, can you clarify it to the public of St. Martin that, well, I don't know if there's any law is in place that if 1 year passed and you did not pay your road tax, you are still subjected to pay before you, like 2020, you will have to pay 2020 before you can get 2021. So they're waiting to hear the answer from the Honorable Minister of Finance.
Thank you for your question, Lyndon Brown. As I previously mentioned this question, I previously answered this before, I believe last year, that legally, by law, if you drive on our roads and you haven't paid your road tax, you have to pay your road tax.
All right, Minister of Finance. Thank you very much for answering Lyndon Brown's question. Moving on to Jeffrey Saccharin of Island 92, you have the final question.
Thank you so much, Charity. Mr. Panafleck, I'm wondering if your ministry, specifically the health side, has given some thought as to what the future safety protocols will look like for inbound travelers. Will we get to the point where folks will be permitted to travel to our shores when they can prove that they've been fully vaccinated? Will we get to the point, when we get to that point, what will be the requirements? Has any thought been given to that yet? And what direction are we headed? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Saccharin. As developments continue to happening in the world, we also are taking key note of it. And eventually, yes, we will have more possibilities and things will be different than right now. Most probably in the future, instead of showing your PCR test, you will have to upload and show that you was vaccinated and you come in. The time period right now, I cannot tell you exactly when it will be, but it most probably will be in the front. Another thing, taking the same thing, most likely there will come some kind of way of vaccine passport also, digitally or hard copy or whatever. That will be something also. But for me to introduce anything like that, I need to know from the different countries, like put it that way, what they are using, because you need to be able to verify that whatever is uploaded is the correct one, and that let me give you the example. There was a period of time, it was much news, maybe not in St. Martin, but on our sister islands, whereas there was a gentleman of young age that think he was doing a good service for himself by making fake tests. And a lot of people was coming out of Europe to the Caribbean with these fake tests, still when it was intercepted, and he got arrested and all those kind of things, because you're playing with people's health. So in that matter, we need to get on the world, because nowadays, like, you know, it is not St. Martin alone, or it is not even only the kingdom, but we talk about the world. What is the world concession about it? How are we going to manage that? How are we going to deal with it? What is acceptable, and all those kind of things. And for now, and that is one of our strife, because apparently not everybody is following that. That's why we're talking about 70 to 85% vaccination of the population, because once you have your population vaccinated in so that you have the herd immunity, then there are next steps that you can continue by opening more and more, and then making your protocols for those that wants to come into your community to keep it safe and all those kind of things. I even saw in Gibraltar where for the community inside, they have almost 70% herd immunity, but it's for the community inside. And still, they are telling everybody, as we continue to evolve the vaccination and more people getting it, and to continue following the protocols. The mere fact, like the Minister of Finance say, I do it also. The mere fact that I got my first shot, and even when I got my second shot, God willing, I will continue adhering to the protocols of using a face mask, keeping my social distancing, sanitizing often, because you need to grow the amount of people getting vaccinated before that we can say we start to scale down the measures that we have to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Minister, and thank you, Dr. Sack. Members of the media, thank you very much for joining us this morning for the Council Ministers press briefing. Honorable Ministers of the Council, also members of the media, online viewers, we have come to the end of this broadcast. For rebroadcast, be sure to tune in to 107.9 FM, that's St. Martin's Gov radio station. Also the Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, and also YouTube channel, Cable TV channel 115. And for video on demand, log on to the official government's website at stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I am Charity Dunker, thanking you very much for tuning in.